Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome back, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash and Big Easy. Going to talk some Steeler football for you. I guess a loose preview of the Week 2 matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals. We're not going to give you an official prediction or anything. There's just not a lot going on in Steeler news, so we figured we'll just talk about the game and have some fun. Although Dash looks like he's miserable right now.
Yeah, I don't know how much fun we're going to be having here, man.
Well, sorry that it's not 10 baseball segments in a row.
Well, I never said that was fun either.
You love it. Biggest news in the first game between the Steelers and the Bengals, no Vontaze Burfict.
No Vontaze
Still out.
Burfict.
Well, unless, I don't know if he appealed yet or not. I don't really care too much. But he's suspended for the first 3 games, so obviously Week 2 he's not going to be there as of right now. So he can't take Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell or Ben Roethlisberger out because he injured all 3 of them last year. And Le'Veon Bell 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh, they'll be coming home for the first time during the season. They start off with the Washington Redskins in Washington, correct?
Yes.
And the Bengals, they're coming off a road game too, so they'll have back-to-back road games to start the season. They start with the Jets in New York.
They should win that game because it looks like Geno Smith is going to be the quarterback. So if it is, the Jets aren't going to win at all.
Have a good chance, yeah.
The Jets are garbage. So before we get in too deep, I want to give our little social media update here. First of all, fans, you could follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread or follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. But I've been checking out the Bengals social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter, and nobody's calling for Andy Dalton's job yet, but people are starting to say or whisper that A.J. McCarron could play better than Andy Dalton.
Guess it's possible. I don't know.
I mean, Andy Dalton's played well in the regular season, but he still hasn't won a playoff game.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very hard to find a good quarterback, and I think Andy Dalton should be considered a good quarterback in this league.
So you take the ginger over A.J. McCarron?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Andy Dalton earned himself a starting job, and I mean, he's won a lot with Cincinnati. They won a division last year, correct? 12-4. Pittsburgh went 10-6 in second place.
And he doesn't have to wear his helmet. He can just paint tiger stripes in his hair, and it looks like he's wearing a helmet. Nothing?
Nothing.
All
Crickets,
right.
Man, crickets.
Well, as far as off-season additions go, what do you think was more important, the draft or free agency for the Bengals? They pretty much signed nobody in free agency. Brandon LaFell, I think, is probably their biggest free agent signing. They brought in William Jackson III in the first round. People think that they stole the player Pittsburgh wanted. There was a lot of people saying they only took him because that's who Pittsburgh wanted.
Well, the first part of that's correct. The second part, I don't think.
I don't believe an NFL franchise would only take a player just to spite another franchise, especially in the first round. Maybe in the 7th round, but then who cares even? So, I mean, it's just not going to happen. But they knew the Steelers were targeting him, yes. And they probably all cheered and fist pumped in the war room or whatever.
Well, if I remember correctly, they wanted a wide receiver. They took one in the second round. Another guy I would like to have in Pittsburgh and Tyler Boyd. But they wanted a receiver in the first round, but there was like 4 or 5 to go in a row right before them. So they went with the better player, in my opinion. The best player on the board probably in William Jackson.
And they let Leon Hall walk. They haven't re-signed him. Nobody's re-signed him. I can't believe Pittsburgh hasn't looked at him for some type of veteran minimum if he'd be willing to accept it, because he was always a pretty good defensive back. But they just wanted to get younger.
He was supposed to be better than he actually was.
But if you could pay him $1 million for 1 year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's what he'd make or whatever. But, yeah, I'd like to see him come in here.
The Bengals drafting Tyler Boyd hurts because we're going to have to watch this dude light us up.
He said he's going to get rid of all his Steeler stuff.
I don't doubt it. He don't need it no
Bengals
more.
for
He don't
life.
need it no more. Get money. And he's like,
I think this is the type of player that can come in and make an impact immediately, too. Tyler Boyd is a beast.
Yeah. Like, remember Chad Johnson?
Chad Johnson, yes.
Ocho Cinco.
It's gonna be like skills like that on the field, but less shenanigans. You know what I mean?
Possibly. I'd like to see Pittsburgh actually try to pick on William Jackson, though, in this game.
Yeah, you got to go after the rookie if he's starting. People are going to go after Artie Burns if he starts. It's just the way of the world in the NFL. They're young, they're inexperienced. Even if you only get, I shouldn't even say only, because if you got 3 big plays against that player in a game, that's going to help you win a game easily. Imagine if Antonio Brown is going against this guy for the whole game. it's just going to be bad news for William Jackson, especially that early.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd line him up on Antonio Brown. I think
the Steelers just might try to move Brown around to try to get him matched up. You know what I mean?
It's possible. We'll have to see what they do.
You know, Haley thinks he's a genius.
Yes, he does.
What about the James Harrison news? I know this doesn't have a whole lot to do with the game, but
he played for both teams.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But he put on Instagram, I think it was, that letter to Goodell, and that Al Jazeera report named Harrison as one of the PED users. Then the guy who wrote the report came out and said it was all a lie, but the NFL still wants to investigate it. So Harrison feels a little slighted, which I agree with. But then he posted a letter saying, well, I'll do it, but it has to be at my house on my time. And
Goodell has to be there, yeah.
Goodell's not going to give in. I don't even know why.
Well, how did the Peyton Manning thing end? Because he was in this too.
Manning's being investigated also.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I just read an article
if it's being
a day or two ago.
That's fine.
Everybody that was named is going to be investigated. I just think it's stupid of the NFL to investigate it, first of all, because the guy already came out and said it's all a lie immediately.
Well, I mean, he might have got paid off to do that. You never know what happened with that. Anything could happen.
Still, it's just, it's better to sweep it under the rug and not keep having it in the media. You know what I mean? Steroids in the NFL being used in the same story is just not good, no matter how you're talking about it. Even if they're busting somebody, they don't even want to have to do that. You know what I mean? Because then they just have to put both words together, and it's no good. But I don't know if Harrison should have went on Instagram with his letter. I'm not going to hate.
You just did.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think it was a good idea. It just makes him look like a dumbass. He's going to end up having to give in. You think Goodell's going to give in? You think the NFL's going to give in?
I don't know about the whole Instagram thing, but I like how he's making it on his terms. Why not? I'm sick of how the NFL
he's going to try to make it on his terms,
ass.
but it's not going to end up being on his terms.
We're sick of the NFL.
They're not going to go do it at his house. Goodell's not going to go do there, and he's going to have to do it on July 28th, which is the day they chose. Or else he's not going to be allowed to play football. They'll just suspend him.
And we'll see what happens.
Dude will retire into the wind, hang him up, kick rocks.
Yeah. I'm not saying he can't. And I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't stick up for himself or anything because, like I said, the report's stupid, but I thought the letter on Instagram was dumb.
He's goofy.
But as far as the game impact goes, he might rip Andy Dalton's head off because if he is allowed to play, he's going to be pissed off and he's really going to be trying to murder somebody out on the field.
Well, they played 3 times last season, and the road team won every game.
The more you know.
Is that right?
Yep.
It's going to change this year.
Oh, hey now.
Going to change this year? So you're saying this game, the Steelers are going to win?
Loosely.
The Steelers at home against a Bengals team that I think is slightly regressed from last year. Not that I think they're going to be bad.
How'd they regress? What'd they lose?
Their defense just isn't going to be as solid. It's just got a couple new players. It's just their offense, it's played well, but Tyler Eifert's had ankle surgery. He's expected back in August, but I don't know. I feel like this core group of players that they have has kind of peaked, and they're going to be on their descent. Not necessarily, drop off or anything.
No, I mean, if you look at last season, they started 8-0. They finished the second half of the season at 4-4, and then they lost the playoff game. So they did take a step back throughout the course of last season. You think that's just going to keep continuing then?
Well, I think a lot of that was Andy Dalton getting hurt in the second half of the season. But I still think even with him back, I don't know.
Actually, Andy Dalton didn't get hurt until December, though. He actually lost 3 of 5 games prior to getting hurt. So they did kind of fall off with Dalton, but then he did get hurt, and McCarron went 2-2 over that span, and I guess that's good enough to warrant a starting job if you're a Cincy fan.
All day. Why not have some controversy out there? What else they got to talk about? My baseball team's garbage.
I think the biggest storyline here is going to be the Burfict thing. I think the NFL is going to shove it down everybody's throat. Even maybe not the NFL, but all the announcers, ESPN, whatever, all the other media. It'll overshadow what the game's actually going to be. It'll be a good football game. The Bengals are a tough team. Like you said, they won the division last year. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just can't see the road team winning this many games in a row in this series. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I know the Steelers dominate the Bengals at home and on the road in the last 10, 15 years.
They do dominate them on the road, for sure.
So I think Pittsburgh's going to take a step up this year. The defense got a little better towards the end of the year last year. They added some things to the defense. Do I think they're going to be, a top 5 unit? Probably not. but they definitely have a chance to be in the top 15 in the league, which is all that offense really needs, even with Martavis Bryant out.
What were they in points allowed last season? They were in the top 5 or something.
Yeah,
Or
they didn't even allow 21. It was like 20.1 or 20.4 or something like that. So.
And last season, the game in Pittsburgh, it was a low-scoring game, 16-10.
Was that with Le'Veon Bell in that game, or was that the game he got hurt? Right.
Yeah, it would have had to have been the game he got hurt.
Yeah, right near the end of the season.
No, that was the week 8, right after the bye.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. It was 2 years ago that he got hurt before the playoffs. He got hurt this year early, and then D'Angelo Williams came in.
Yeah, he's been beat, man. You got to stay healthy.
Well, Burfict keeps going after his knees. Somebody's got to kick Burfict right in the face.
And Adam Jones, he's gone.
Yeah, they didn't re-sign him. Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Into the wind. Hang him up.
He actually played a couple good seasons for them. I mean, you can't hate on.
Well, he's lasted a pretty long time in his league, actually, longer than a lot of people thought he would.
Yes. But
well, I thought he
would hang him up now,
be arrested or overdosed on drugs by now. So
kick rocks.
Him and Burfict fit perfect together.
Dalton's going to light us up, and then they'll be 2-0 rolling. Bengals will be 2-0 rolling.
So you think Bengals are going to win the first 2 road games of the season, and then come back home to play Denver and Miami at home?
Why not?
Denver's going to be nothing this year. They got no quarterback.
Pittsburgh always blows in the beginning of the season.
Well, the first game of the year hasn't been too well to Mike Tomlin. But I'm not sure what our numbers are in the second game.
I can see Dalton having like over 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. And
since 2006, these two teams won 10 division titles between them. Who's going to win it this year, Easy?
Definitely not Baltimore. Let me tell you that. In Cleveland, you're only getting 1 championship this year, and you already got it.
So it's between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati?
Oh, there's without a doubt it's between these 2 teams again. And number one, which is great, they hate each other. And I hate them too. I don't think there's a fan that sits here and says, well, except for Tyler Boyd, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't like him anymore.
Well, yeah, you know what? Guess what, Tyler? You're out. We're done with you. You want to throw away your Steeler gear? We're burning your rookie cards, and I was never a Pitt fan either, but I read today that they're going to start serving alcohol at games now.
At Pitt games?
At Pitt games.
I didn't know they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Oh, yeah,
we were one of a handful of power conference schools that didn't at a pro stadium, nonetheless. Right. But now they voted 2 alcohol sales. Thank you for that. Get money. Yeah. $500,000 a year. They said. I'll take it. Watch me shine down there now. Now I am a Pitt fan again. Though. Thank you.
Student rush. They're gonna be hammered.
No, there's no students drinking.
Yeah, right.
They know. They can't be serving underage kids.
They'll all be hammered, dude. The whole stadium's gonna smell like beer.
Oh,
think about how much beer is going to be served on a weekend when Pitt and the Steelers play.
They better roll the keg trucks up. Keg trucks.
Jim, who's going to win this division?
The Steelers. I think it's going to be them and the Bengals. It'll probably go down to the end of the season again. You know, one of the last few games of the year will decide it.
And by the way, you talked through these first 2 segments we did about this schedule. It seems like you have the Steelers starting off 2-0, correct?
I mean,
loosely.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went 2-0, but I wouldn't be shocked if they lost that game in Washington either, because the Redskins.
That's what I was saying.
They played well in Washington last year. They didn't play real well on the road, but to me, Kirk Cousins is a 1-year flash in the pan, and teams are going to have enough. There's a reason this guy was a 4th-round pick, and I know it happens sometimes or whatever. I just don't see it in him. So he's Brian Hoyer at best to me. So I'm not really that afraid of
Hoyer's
Kirk Cousins.
A beast.
First game of the year, though, we're always running around. They have no clue what they're doing.
Oh, the first game of the year is brutal for the Steelers.
They have no clue
but the second game last season got a lot better.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
so if we lost the Redskins, it wouldn't shock me. But as of right now,
not against
F Kirk Cousins and F the Redskins and F the Bengals and F Andy Dalton.
Come on now.
We probably didn't even play a division opponent in our second game of the year. And that's why, too. Because a division opponent that early.
It surprised me.
They hate us. That's going to be that's a big game. That's going to be very exciting.
Well, maybe they scheduled it like that.
What time of the day was it? What did you say?
It's a Sunday 1 o'clock game.
They may have scheduled it like that, so
game.
the
That's
Steelers get one of the games that Burfict is out. You know what I mean? Because
I was
they
shocked
deserve
that
one
they
of the
did
games
that.
that Burfict
Honestly,
is
I thought the NFL would want him.
Is that right?
I mean,
like
to
his
me,
first
they
game back.
deserve it.
I thought it was the Week 4 match. Was going to be the.
Yeah, they'd set it up for his comeback and not even care about it.
Yeah.
Honestly. But I don't know.
So you're saying they had to schedule the Bengals in that first 4 weeks?
Well, I mean, they probably scheduled it before they even handed out the punishment.
No,
correct?
the suspension was first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it
the
was...
matchup, like the teams were set, obviously, because we play the Bengals twice a year.
Right.
But I don't think the schedule was out before the suspension.
All right, well, maybe they did do it because of that then. Because, I mean, it's only fair to have it that way. I mean, that's the whole reason he's suspended, correct?
Yeah, he tried to murder Antonio Brown, and then he called him a crybaby, and so did Pac-Man Jones. And then Pac-Man Jones on Twitter, he's like, I'm a real man. I know when to apologize. A real man doesn't say dumb shit like Antonio Brown's a crybaby for getting his head broken.
Oh, a lot of people say dumb shit.
Especially Pac-Man Jones. But as of right now, I'm going to say Pittsburgh wins this game. It's going to be a tight game, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. So I like 33-31, maybe the 2-point conversion that Ben wants to go for every single time this year comes out and actually wins us a football game.
Yeah, like I said last year, the game was 16-10 in Pittsburgh. The other game was 33-20, and that was later in the season. I'm not quite so sure. They got to stop that two-headed monster of Bernard and Hill.
Yeah, with Dan McCullers and the rookie Hargrove at nose tackle, that might be tough this year. Don't really know what you're going to get out of McCullers. It's like Big Easy out there. Could be drunk. You never know.
But I'm not so sure yet. I'm not going to pick who's going to win or lose this game at this point. It's going to be, they're probably going to see him in the playoffs again, so they're going to play 3 times, and I know I'm going to want to pick Pittsburgh in the playoff game, and I see Cincinnati at least beating the Steelers once this season, most likely. In the way that Pittsburgh plays in Cincinnati, I don't want to pick the Bengals in that game because the Steelers always go into Cincinnati and dominate. So I might have Cincinnati winning this game.
I like it. Very loose.
So we all say
prediction.
that 1-1 is pretty probable for them after 2 games.
Pittsburgh, yes, and 1-1 is.
I see 0-2.
You see 0-2. 1-1's possible for Cincinnati as well. I mean, they could possibly lose that game in New York, obviously.
If Fitzpatrick comes
but even
back.
if they do win that game, their second game of the season, also a road game going into Pittsburgh, that's tough as well. So I could see both of these teams at 1-1.
I didn't hear your segment about the opening game of the year, but there's no way we lose to Washington Redskins.
Big Ben plays a lot better at home than he does on the road.
It's like a Monday night.
Yeah, it's the
Sky,
first Monday night game.
Yeah, prime time. Ain't Ben Roethlisberger losing that football game.
Kirk Cousins is garbage.
No, his second game, at home.
On a Sunday afternoon, he might be
On
a
a
little
Sunday afternoon,
hungover.
and dude have like 3-4 interceptions.
Well, fans, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter at @bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at @BetJimTheWin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/BetTheSpread. A lot of good stuff on there. Keep coming back to YouTube and clicking subscribe. Keep listening to the Steelers coverage. It's better than Bomb Labriola.
Yins, no.